hit that button.
To introduce. Wiser.
Hey everybody, Webc here, and it's Friday night, and welcome to Webc Builds Live. And tonight in the studio we have a special guest, and I'm going to bring him up right now to introduce him. Nordic, thank you for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell everybody watching where they can find you on all your socials.
Absolutely. As you know, my name is Nordic. You can find me primarily on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, YouTube. You can find me just about everywhere of those. YouTube is a little bit light. I don't really stream on that much, but I build plastic robots. I'm a 38-year-old nerd. I've been building robots for about 4.5 years. I run Berserker Mechs, which is almost 335 people plus of other builders, like-minded builders, experienced builders, and beginner builders. I'm a community leader. And that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome, and thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us this evening.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So one of the things that I've always asked people is like, what's your I know what your first model is that you built, but what really got you into the modeling hobby? What was it that said, okay, this is going to be what I do over collecting silver spoons? What are you going to, so what got you into the Gundam actually?
All right. So it's going to be a little bit of a deep dive answer for you. So growing up, and one of our collective past growing up, so I sought out therapy about a little over 5 years ago, and my therapist told me that, because I was telling her, because I was working and living. I didn't have much of a life. I have a wife and kids at the time, and I was always stressed out and angry. So she told me that, I need to start doing something constructive with my hands. I'm like, well, I work with my hands all day. And she goes, well, not for other people. Do something for you, something that's in your control based on your quality control, right? Like you won't let yourself down kind of thing. And I was like, I don't know what the hell that means. I'm not a big thinker. So I went around and I played all kinds of nerdy stuff, video games and Magic the Gathering. It wasn't really helping my anger management whatsoever. So I was like, I don't know what to do. So I saw an episode of Gundam on TV that my son was watching. And I was like, oh, man, I remember those days watching Universal Century, right? And I was like, you know what? I went online, found the kits. And then I looked at I saw the Sazabi, which I knew of already, but I didn't really know of the quality, the Verkaw being like a harder scale other than a high grade kind of thing. I didn't know any of that. So I picked it up and built it. And then I fell in love with it. I got addicted to building Gunpla. Because of the challenge, because of the fact that I could stare at it and go, I did all that work. And that's really it in a nutshell. That's the deep dive. I did it for a therapy tool to help me control, a little bit of the outcomes of things. So I didn't feel out of control and I didn't spur my anger. So, being 4.5 years of Gunpla building and actually sober of a lot of my anger issues. So that's where it got started.
That's a great way to start into something, is to use it as an outlet for things like that. Mm-hmm. Then I guess next is, what Gundam series do you have like a fondness to, or what relates to you as a Gundam series? Universal Century, IBO, Witch from Mercury, Thunderbolt. You just mentioned before we got online that Thunderbolt's a big favorite of yours. So which one is more of a relatable to you as well?
Well, being okay, so, God, man, these are some deep questions. So being the son of a military family, I was around war stuff all the time, right? My dad was in Desert Storm, Battle of Medina, tank operator, right? So he was always around heavy machinery, and so was I as a kid. I got to sit in a tank. I got to ride around on Fort Lewis, which is here in Washington State before it became JBLM. I got to ride in a tank, right? It was really cool experiences. So unfortunately, all that stuff I grew up, And to answer your question, the reason Thunderbolt technically falls into the UC timeline, Universal Century. It's towards the end of the 1 year.
Yep.
On a different sector, right? Like, because you have Armor over here doing his Gundam things, right?
Oh yeah, definitely like side story and stuff, just like Requiem that just came out.
Exactly. It's all in the same universe, just different parts of the world. But this is going to be kind of weird. A lot of folks don't kind of resonate with it. We love Gunpla because we love battle robots and all those other kind of cool explosions and the drama and some of the politicking, right? But what I like about Thunderbolt is actually how real it seems. And I know that sounds kind of odd because we watch anime to escape, right? Escapism. But I watch it because when I think of the trauma that these dudes, the pilots, dudes, and the ladies that are experiencing on a daily basis piloting these mobile suits for bigger parties that don't even remember their names, it does take a toll on them, right? And the second thing and this is very controversial when it comes to fans. I like the fact that they're not portraying anybody as a good guy in that series. Both sides are completely crazy, right? You have a dude who's lopping his body parts off to pilot a psycho frame Zaku, and then you have the other guy who is working for the Earth Federation, who is actually a very, very bad dude. And I like that because it's a little bit more, I guess, grounded in realism. Would answer your question, I guess, if that makes any sense. It's an anime, so it's not real, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. And then to follow up that question with just like a totally off subject question, what would be your favorite non-mecha anime?
My favorite non-mecha anime. Ooh, that's wow, dude. Geez, non-mech. There's a lot, dude. I like Zaraki Kenpachi from Bleach. Bleach is one of my favorites, but that's a little bit more syndicated. DBZ wasn't bad. I grew up watching DBZ as a kid. Yeah, we all did, right?
Yeah,
Dragon Ball.
that checks in one of my boxes as one of my favorite all times.
Yeah, who doesn't love Broly beating on Gohan? I'm just kidding. That is actually my favorite character is Broly, but
his new character development's just as cool as his old character development.
Yes,
so
it is. I do not hate it.
Yep.
I agree with you. I do not hate it. I just compare them differently.
Yeah.
They're two entirely different Brolys.
Yep.
Now,
exactly.
if they made Bad Broly into a good guy, then I'd have a problem with that. Or,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that wouldn't make a lot of sense.
That wouldn't make sense at all. No.
Exactly. No, but I love Broly. He's just. I think when it comes to representing what a Super Saiyan is, I think he best represents it. You know, just this barbaric, just monster dude. But to answer your question, man, that is Berserk would honestly probably have to take it, and Goblin Slayer is the second one. But
all right, yeah, cool. I know both of those. Those are both good animes. So as a builder of models and Gunpla in general, are you constantly watching the internet feed for what's the next kit to come out, or are you just pretty casual and excited about whatever kit is announced?
So what I typically do is I actually haven't bought a single P Bandai. I have bought P Bandai kits, but not from P Bandai themselves, right? And I have a real ethic reason why to do that. I don't want to support P Bandai's. How do I word this? I want to support Bandai, of course, because I want them to continue making Gundams. But P Bandai specifically, I don't necessarily 100% agree with all of their actions. So what I'll do is I'll buy from private sellers. So like say that if you bought a P Bandai, I'll buy it from you instead, so I can support you instead of them. So either way, they get the money. I get it. But yes, I do keep my ear to the ground for kits that I think are good. For example, coming up here in about 2.5 to maybe 3 weeks, I'm going to be getting my Firehawk that's coming out. I pre-ordered that a few months ago. So
that sounds Borderlands related.
Yeah. Have you seen pictures of the Firehawk? You should look
No,
it up.
not yet. I would have to go look that up.
Think of it like a Sinanju and a Sazabi had a baby.
Ooh.
But it's third party. It is a third party kit. So
yeah, no, I don't really.
Sazabi,
I actually more so like what brand is that third party? You know,
right? Yeah.
Now those third party kits are like starting to like actually brand themselves instead of just being no name kits.
Exactly. Like you got the Supernovas, you got the
you got Kotobukiya stop. Like Kotobukiya is definitely moving out of being known as a third party kit company, and now they're finally like coming into their own and going, "Hey, these are really our kits. This is us. We're purchasing a license to produce this kit. Enjoy it. They're
Yeah.
Zoids. Like so I like that's why I like Kotobukiya now. I have only done one Zoid, and it's a great kit. I'm sure there are plenty more that are great from that series too.
What
Uh,
Zoid did you build?
I built the Command Wolf, but I custom painted it and gave it a winter theme.
Oh, nice. Arctic wolf
Yeah,
style. I love it.
yeah, definitely like an Arctic Command.
That's
Yeah,
a
and
that's
it turned out really good. I was really impressed with it. Like purplish blue highlights with some silver accents, and then I left it white, like the original white that it was, to
yeah.
not like do a whole bunch. So it turned out really nice. I can pull it out later.
Yeah, no, just
Um,
tag me in a video or something. I'd appreciate it.
Definitely.
The Sturm
Um,
Tyrant's my favorite. The Sturm Tyrant. The red T-Rex looking dude.
ooh, yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
I
all
had to
right,
think the red mobile suits. I'm just
all right. So let's say, besides the Sazabi, what is your next favorite kit in line?
my next favorite kit beside the Sazabi. I guess I could try to show you. How's this gonna? Give me 1 second. This thing's just a big old bear, so gotta be careful. There we go. This diva right here, my friend, the Hama Hama.
That's neat.
Yep, it's a Monowai, nicknamed the New Type Killer. It was a suit specifically designed to target new type capabilities. So basically, think of it like it could pick up the new type when they talk to each other. It
If
could
it
pick
was
up.
an if it was
Yep,
an X-Men, it would be a Sentinel.
exactly. That's what
Okay,
this thing is designed to do. It can combat all kinds of new type abilities.
nice.
Predictive AI was helping this, but
It's a,
sadly, it didn't get a lot of screen time. It got like maybe a whole 20 minutes. It's like the Comfer, right? The Comfer
yeah.
came out and people were like, "Oh, that's so cool," then blew up.
2 seconds later.
Yep.
Yep.
So
I-
so I ended up keeping it the mono green that it was, and then I ended up doing, instead of like black or white panel lining, I did gold panel lining because I
Okay.
wanted it to pop off the green a little bit. And I painted all the piping gold, metallic gold. I'm not really sure if my camera can pick that up, but it came in this really nasty green, hosey looking color. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna do that. And then I put an eye in his LED in his eye.
Cool.
Yep. So the Hama Hama would be my second favorite mobile suit.
Um, that thing looked cool.
And it's huge too for a it's not even a master grade. This is an RE100.
Okay, I was wondering, I was like, you did a really good job building that. That looks amazing. 'Cause I was
Thank
like,
you.
that did not look like something. I don't think I've seen that ever in a master grade, but it looked
Nope.
big. All right. Yeah. Next question. Da-da-da-da. Oh, we already told us on the stream. All right. What would you tell people that are new to the hobby to get them into the hobby long term? What would be like that one piece of advice that would slow them down or help them prevent them from getting turned away from the hobby in any kind of way?
Follow your gut. And I'll elaborate. So it you've been in the hobby long enough to know that there's thousands of different opinions about kit qualities, kit stylizations, how to paint, how not to paint, how to pose. Even we're arguing about how to pose, right? So stay out of all that. Keep your head down, build the kit you want, keep building your backlog, because building a backlog is just as important as building a kit, guys. So that's what I would say is take popular media out of it and listen to yourself, and always try to push yourself in the hobby. Don't be afraid of hurdles.
Those are great. Those are great pieces of advice. I like those.
Thank you.
All right. And this, I think, is one of the last questions we got. What do you do for fun outside of the hobby world when you're
I
not?
stream. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. It was
Yeah, I got you. So outside of building Gunpla, I do all kinds of stuff. Obviously, working with my kids, but I play video games. I stream Gundam Breaker. I run the community with my mods. Big shout out to them, by the way. Leviathan Prime, Adam, and Decoy. And that's it. I just host events. Like you just mentioned earlier, the Winter Verkaw event will start here in December and end in February. I just basically be present for people online. I talk about what I like. I bring up quirky little jokes about the communities, finer nuanced things. I build robots outside of the hobby, though. I just chill and hang with my friends.
Nice. That's great.
I'm pretty low key. I try not to do anything. I did all that in my youth. I'm way over, doing too much.
Oh yeah, no, I'm being disabled has slowed me down rapidly. So
I can imagine, man.
it's like, hey, one day I'll just be just fine, and then all of a sudden I'll start walking somewhere and I'll fall flat in my face. So it's just one of those things. It's more embarrassing for me than anything, but you live through it enough times, you get over it. You make jokes about it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's better. It does get better eventually, but I mean, you don't feel better all the time.
No, you don't.
Yeah, so, and then the doctors, they don't know what it is. They don't know what's wrong with me. That's the best part.
That's scary, man. I can imagine them.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't know how to help you, buddy.
Right? It's like, thanks, doc. So,
I guess that's why they
yeah,
call it practicing medicine.
right. So, yeah. But that was basically the end of those list questions. We went through those real fast, real easy.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah, we can just start shooting back and forth questions or talking, chit chat, and fill out the next 45 minutes and beyond.
Sounds
And
good,
then
buddy.
I have gotten this far on my build so far. I've got this put together.
I haven't built anything yet, just other than showcasing some stuff. Putting the head back on my Hama Hama. There we go. All right. Yeah, so this is as far as I got on the wing. Just his chest.
So,
All right. So
yeah.
what about you, man? What made you want to do a podcast?
Well, so there's a long story to that, and I can get into it. A lot of my followers who've been with me for a long time definitely know quite a bit of the story already. But back in 2019, I was getting really depressed, and part of it was my wife was like always working, and that's a good thing because it was keeping the economics of the house going and everything like that. But her work was really demanding. She was getting up there to 70, 80 hour weeks, things like that.
Yeah.
And she was like, one day for Father's Day, she's like, babe, you've been a really great father and stuff, and what do you want for Father's Day? Anything you want, I'll get it for you. And I was like, it's been a really long time, and the kids are old enough now. I think I could build another robot. I think I could get back into model building again. And she was like, really? You want to get back into model building? And I was like, yeah, I think it'd be really fun. So she's like, all right, well, go online and find a cool model you like and buy it, and we'll get to it. And I was like, all right, so whatever. I moved through the internet, and I was like, where can I find a good price Gundam? And I was looking and looking, and I kept having a hard time figuring it out. Like I wasn't getting anywhere. Then I went to Amazon, and Amazon had some kits, but I was like, yeah, these ones kind of seem expensive. And she was like, just pick one. And I was like, fine. So I picked one out. She bought it for me. I told her I wanted to paint it, and I needed some sandpaper and supplies, and we went out and got it. And I got done painting it and everything. It was great. I had a great time doing it. And she saw me come out of my depression while I was working on this. You know what I mean? Like she saw
Yeah.
me go from being bottled up and just looking at my phone all day, doing the scroll of doom.
Yep.
She was like, "So, do you want another one?" And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Another one?" I was like, "Well, there's a local store we could go to and see what they have." So we went down to this place here in St. Paul, Minnesota called Scale Model Supply.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been around since like the 1950s. They've been doing scale trains since the 50s, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I go there, and when I was a kid, my dad used to go there and pick up like his Rebels and his AMC models and stuff like that, his cars, because my dad did cars. and he taught me how to do model cars and stuff. And uh, after that, me and my wife went down there. I picked up A to Z. I picked up the A to Z Lightning Gundam or something like that, or the A to Z Gundam. It was It was a really good Gundam. Orange and blue with white accents. It was
Yep.
really cool Gundam. Loved building it. Once again, she saw how enthusiastic I became when I was building it, and she's like, hey, you should take pictures of these and share them with your friends online and see what your friends think and stuff like that. And she encouraged me to go online, and then I started going online, and I found out that there was like a need for a while, like in the beginning of 2019, there was like this need for like more people of builders and stuff online because I wasn't seeing a lot. I was seeing like the same four people over and over and over again just being
Same.
shared. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, these guys are cool, but they're not giving out the information that I want to know. And that must be like they're not giving out information that other builders want to know either. So I was like, maybe if I could just start doing like little videos and stuff like that of like uh me just going through the process of building my kit. Like I played around with all different things, like start to finish builds, just quick snap builds, just different ways, and never really found my niche. And then finally, somebody approached me from Kit Bash Gundam, and he was the guy who ran the program over there, and he said, "Hey man, I got this idea, and I want you to come be the official host of Kit Bash Gundam and stuff. Would you like to do that?" And I was like, "Hey, that sounds like something fun. I'll go try that." So like he had me kind of being like not necessarily the mascot, but the face of the company
Hmm.
and pushing myself out there, like kind of like how Zaku Aurelius is for USA Gundam.
Yeah.
But I wasn't selling any product for the company or anything. I was trying to get people to come in and be members and socialize. And I was like,
Hmm.
hey, that's cool. I could do that. That's really fun. And so we did that. And how we started out with the lives is we started out with a Facebook chat group. And one day I hit the call button and 8 people answered the call at once. And we just started chatting and building Gundams. And then it kind of evolved a little bit more. And I was like, hey, would you guys mind if I like maybe recorded some of our, talking and hanging out and stuff? And they were like, no, go ahead. So I started recording it, and then it kind of became a weekly thing. We all started showing up and stuff. And then it kind of got to the point where like some people were drifting away, some people weren't really like sticking with it. So then like it got down to the point where it's just like 3 or 4 of us. And I was like, okay, well, you know, let's all, really get real tight and let's keep it moving. Then that group kind of just one by one, everybody life just started happening for some of these guys and they had to go on and
Yeah.
do the other things. And I mean, like these guys were like high class builders and stuff that I was hanging out with, like Heiko Nito. He was amazing. Andrew Cosgrove from Canada. He's actually lives right up by you, Nordic,
Oh,
but over off of Vancouver Island over
okay.
there in
Yeah.
Victoria. He lives
Hmm.
over that way, and so he's a competition builder up there in Canada, and he just won with a perfect grade build that was amazing. He won like the big like that big Victoria model builders competition that was over there. And then,
Hmm. I know it.
yep, and then also there was the model Rocketeer, which he was the guy that I was partnered up with for quite a while. And then there was me, and then there was a couple other guys, and then Bit Cloudwise came in like right at the end as everybody was leaving. And so that was like the group right there, all tied together. And then I just never stopped doing what I was doing. I kept doing all the work. I was the guy who was doing the production side of everything anyways. So I just felt like, well, I'll just keep on doing it. And if these guys come back or if these guys return and want to, work on it again, I'm I'll let them back in and we'll hang out more. But nobody's really come back yet. I expect Andrew Cosgrove to come back within the next year. I still talk to him, every couple weeks and stuff. He just a whole bunch happened with him and his life and stuff like that. And it's just for me. What really kept me going so long for doing this was a couple years ago. Into doing this, I was winning competitions left and right everywhere I went, and the guy that I was partnered with, Carrie, or the Model Rocketeer, he was out there searching for like sponsorships and stuff for Kit Bash Gundam. And the guy who landed a sponsorship with wanted to like sponsor me individually as well, not just like Kit Bash Gundam or anything. But he was
Yeah.
like, "No, I want to sponsor you individually too." And so that's where Clarksville Hobby Depot comes into play, and they're kind of what drove me really headfirst into like building my whole station, making sure I had all the production gear I needed, make sure lighting was good whenever I needed something, I was making sure that those things were getting done because, well, Clarksville Hobby Depot, they were depending on me.
Right.
So that was kind of how I ended up getting into live streaming. It just evolved. It was like a slow evolution, and you can see that evolution as you watch all the material that's on my YouTube
Hmm.
for this. It's like my headquarters of all my video stuff. So you can see some of my builds. You can see some of those really old videos where there's like all the old guys from Kit Bash Gundam and stuff hanging out. And then as you see it go through from 2020 to 2021 to 2022, you see like an evolution of the show. And by 2021, had established like the weekly show, but I hadn't refined it or anything, and I hadn't really figured everything out. Along with that, Pyro Draco stopped by and said, "Hey, y'all. Hey,
Yep.
Pyro Draco, thanks for stopping in and dropping us a line real quick. Awesome. Thank you." And so things like that just really helped push me forward. And then it was about a year ago, a lot of people were talking about, "Hey man, TikTok this and TikTok that," and I was like, "TikTok?" I was like, "Well, that's interesting."
Mhm.
Isn't there like the dance page, or where like kids are doing dances and stuff? And then
Yeah.
people were like, "No, there's a Gundam community over there," and I was like, "Word?" I was like, "There's a Gundam community over there?" I was like, "All right, so let me go check it out." And sure enough, I started finding people, nobody I knew. I was like, "These are all new people." I tried interacting with one person, and then I got really bad reaction from that guy, and then I was like, I kind of made me, I almost reclused away, like I almost didn't stay in TikTok. But then I found King Tritonus and I found you. And when I found you two, I was like, okay, there are some positive people here. Cool, maybe I'll stay. And then I saw Tacoholic, and then I saw Frosty, and all those guys that hang out in Taco's circle group. I was like, oh, those guys are amazing too. I was like, so I want to get to know all these people because they seem like they're really fun, and have something to talk about. So that's how I ended up over on the TikTok doing TikTok lives and stuff over there. And that's basically the whole what happened, like the evolution of Web C Studios in the modeling world and everything.
Nice.
Nice. And yeah, so my history of modeling goes all the way back to like being a 9-year-old kid putting together model cars with my dad, and just having like those memories like definitely pass on because as my kids grew, I passed that whole type of experience on with them because I bought, a bunch of extra kits and stuff so that if they showed interest, I could just hand them one and hand them a nipper and be like, here, go ahead, have at it. You're old enough to read instructions, you know?
Hmm.
And my son, he didn't really take to it. But my daughter, she just instantly took to it. And she was a super hardcore builder for a good year and a half there. And she has a whole bunch. She builds SD kits, high grade kits, and master grade kits. She does not have a limit. And when I mean she builds high grade and master grade kits, her first master grade that she built was Wing Zero Proto Verka. That was her first master grade.
Oh,
So, she
nice.
was picking the right ones. I tell you what, they were in Dad's backlog, but she was like, "I want to build that one." And I was like, "All right." So that was her first one, and then her second master grade she built was Gundam Dynamis, and I was really proud of her for that one too, because like both master grades she did not need any help with. So,
That's
but she
good.
worked her way up though. It wasn't like it was like the first kit she ever did. She did at least 10 SD kits and 4 or 5 high grade kits before she even got to do the master grade kits. But she still did them. I was really impressed with it, and it kept her busy because It was for when she did the master grades, we had all caught the COVID, and so we all had to quarantine. And I was like, well, we all better build some plastic and keep us busy. So that's how we survived COVID, was with Gundam. The kit I built when I had it was I built the what is it? The Banshee Verka. That's what I built.
Nice.
So it was a good build. It felt solid and everything, but it didn't hurt my eyes or give me a headache while I was building it because it was the dark colors and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's why I'm gonna build this one. So uh, so yeah, being able to pass on that model building experience to my kids was like a big section of the whole rewarding part of it. Um, and they also, the advantages of that is like having kids that like to do the same things as me is
Mhm.
I don't have to argue with the wife about what I'm doing. I'm hanging out
Exactly.
with the kids.
Yep.
So, but
Yeah.
other than that, though, I don't really have like it. Just keeps me from going back into my depression for the most part. Why I'm still going to be going live and stuff because I know if I don't, I'll probably become depressed.
I
So
can
yeah.
respect that. I can respect that. It's hard. You don't want to go back to the way you were. You know what I mean?
Definitely
That's
not. No.
yeah. You said something that kind of spurned in me. Like, so I have three kids. I have two boys and a girl. And my eldest isn't really into it. He has a couple of his Zaku's that he built with me, but he's not. He likes more of the Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
So it was like, all right. So he has the Mandalorians, and he has the Boba Fett. And then my youngest son is just 4. He just now built his very first model kit yesterday with his buddy. He built the ball. I
Ooh.
posted that picture in the Discord. Yeah, my boys were having such a good time with it. And I say my boys, but really what it was my youngest son and his best friend, and they both wanted to build it. So I gave them the dual pack because you know how the high grade comes with 2 in one box. So I was like,
Yeah.
go ahead. So I sat there and I helped them out, and now they have their respective little balls flying around the house shooting each other. It's really fun. Yeah, they're
Nice.
doing like Star Wars battle scenes with it. It was really great. Um, my daughter, on the other hand, doesn't build. She doesn't build whatsoever. But the biggest cheerleader I have in my life is my daughter. So when it comes to a kit, she'll tell me to build it. If she sees that there's something in the backlog and she likes it, she goes, "You're building that next, Dad." And I was like, "All right, maybe." And she goes, "No, I want you to build that one next." So basically, what I build is based on what my daughter tells me. She'll go in, she goes, "Oh, okay, I like this one because it's pink," or "I like this." In fact, she picked the unicorn, but right here. She's because I told her I was like, "Go pick a Verkov for me to build, honey. I don't know which one I want to build." And she goes, "I want you to build the unicorn." I was like, "Oh God, it's not cool." Like, damn it. Yeah, fine. And then, but she really does talk to me like a grown ass woman would. She's like, "I want you to build this. I need you to stay on this. Don't stop, Dad." Because sometimes I'll get tired, or the burnout will happen, right? Or the
Yep.
distractions
Yep.
work, and she'll be like, "Hey, when was the last time you built something?" You know, Here's a good example. We watched The Walking Dead together because she loves zombies, and I was sitting there and I was like, "Do you want to watch another episode, honey?" And I was just about to get up to get more popcorn. And she goes, "No, actually, I'm gonna take a break." We watched 2 episodes, Dad. And I was like, "Oh, okay." We normally do 3, is our tradition. And she goes, "No, I'm gonna go to bed, or I'm gonna play on my Switch." I'm like, "All right." And she goes, "But you should go build the kit. I want you to build the kit." I was like, I don't want to build tonight." And she goes, "You haven't built in a week. Get to work." And she goes, "You tell people to get to work. Why aren't you getting to work?" And I was like, you're right. You're
Used it
right.
against you.
You're right. Exactly right. Kids will hold you accountable so quick, man." And
Oh
she
yeah.
goes, "Just get back on it, Dad. I want to see it built." So that's how it is, man. I have my own little boss, if you will, or my cheerleader, depending on which way you want to look at it. Well, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. My oldest 2 don't live with me, but my younger 2 do. And yeah, they're at the age where they just became teenagers finally, and they don't really want much to do with me anymore. They
That's
do their teenager things.
I understand. One dad to another. I'm not that far. My eldest is 10. That's
Okay.
hilarious, Nordic. Yeah, it is. It is very hilarious. I know that you're not supposed to say this as a parent, but like she's like my best friend, dude. Not she doesn't know that. I don't let her know that. But I'm like, God, you're my daughter. Sometimes, I'll be the dad. I'm like, stop talking to me like that. But other times it's like, yeah, you're right. Stop talking to me like that. I'll get to work. But yeah. No. They keep me flying high and tight, man. They don't.
Nice. And then yeah, so no, my kids, they're just, I don't know, they're really smart though. And my oldest is 17, just turning 17 next month. So my youngest is 13. So out of four, yeah, that's real fun. I'm proud of all of them. I can't say any less about that. They're all amazingly smart and talented. All four of them. The older two are both in respective schools for art. The youngest girl, she's right there behind those two. She's gonna probably get selected for something too, for art wise. And my son, I'm so proud of him. I mean, I know he's like nothing like me, but at the same time, I'm just so proud of him.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. Like, I'm one of those dads where I'm beaming with pride with my children all the time. So I'm
Yeah,
never
man.
hesitant to be like, yeah, I got kids. What of it?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And yeah, I just always want them to know too, like, dad's proud of you. Dad's always going to be proud of you. And you're always going to be, you're not going to change. Doesn't matter what you are. You're my kids. Ha, you're stuck. They
Yep.
go, oh no.
Here's a tearjerker for you, buddy. One again, a dad thing to you. So the other day, I'm just chilling there and I'm eating breakfast with my kids. Now my kids, again, they're not teenagers. One's 10, one's 7, one's 4, so they're not that old. But I'll tell you, man. I know that you can never predict what somebody's going to be in the future, but you can always kind of tell the nuances, right? With how they talk, how they carry themselves, what kind of charisma they have, what kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my eldest son is huge. He is so into sci-fi and books. Like he's a nerd. No big deal. He likes his video games. He likes his Steam Deck. He does all kind of cool mods for Skyrim. That's what he does. My
Okay.
daughter is a bookworm. She's very smart, very authoritative, right? Like I said, she bosses me around a little bit. She's very go-getter. She's very hard on herself when it comes to school. She has to be good at everything. That's just how she is. And then my youngest son, I don't know what happened to him, man. He is Fred Flintstone or Barney or Bam Bam. You know what I mean? He is far removed from his siblings. Like they love him though. They absolutely love him. So I watched my eldest son teach my youngest son how to play on the Steam Deck. And then I saw my daughter essentially being a good big sister to her little brother. But that guy, he's crazy. He is nuts. He is a battery that never stops. You know what I mean?
That's
I
great.
think he'll be the football player kind of mentality, right? Like that's just how they talk to each other. Like one will say something smart, the
Oh,
other will
wow.
say something sarcastic, and the other say something kind of dumb or silly. So yeah, I was watching that at the breakfast table, and I was like, "Oh God, you guys are all three different. I have no idea how I'm going to pilot this." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely get that. Luckily, my kids, they're so different that they complement each other, and it's really cool. I think it's really cool anyways.
Yeah.
Um uh so in the school that they're going to, like my son, he got a hold of all these coding programs and stuff so he can code his own video games and stuff, not just like Skyrim mods or anything, but like he's actually like full on taking code and building up his whole entire game himself. Well, he paid my daughter to create the sprites for his game.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, oh, look at that. Brother and sister working together, creating a video game. It's like, that's cool. You know, playing to their strengths and stuff while they're doing it too. Like
Mm-hmm.
he knows he's not a good artist, so he pays her to do the artwork, and she knows she's not the super thinker. So when he puts the game together and stuff, she's like the tester, and she plays the game. And oh man, it's so crazy watching them talk about it and stuff. One night, one night they started swearing at each other for. I just I try to be more of a liberal dad when it comes to like language and stuff in the house. Like
Yeah.
I don't try to be that, hey, don't swear, but I do go like sometimes I have to be like, hey, you shouldn't say that to your sibling. Like that's just
Right.
that phrase. Like, let's not say that. But so just the hilarity of it all. My wife just burst out laughing that night. She was home and she just I was like, yeah, this is like normal. I'm gonna tell them all the time. Watch their language. She's just laughing.
Yeah, I'm like you, actually. I agree with that. I'm very liberal in the sense of how I raise my kids. Like, I don't. One day, I'm walking downstairs and I hear my youngest, or excuse me, my eldest at the time, he hit himself. He stubbed his toe, but I didn't know what it was at the time, and he drops the F word, right? And I'm like, what? Because we do have kind of a limitation on words, right? Just like what you said. There's some things you just don't say. And I'm like, what was that, dude? And he goes, I stubbed my toe on my dresser. And I was like, oh, carry on, right? Like, it was all about like the situation. Like, I don't want him talking to anybody like that, but at the same time, if you stub your toe, bro, I ain't gonna get in your way. Express your anger, dude. But no, it's 100% like what you said, man. It's I'm liberal with it. My kids talk to me kind of like they're grown up sometimes when they really want to tell me how they feel. I slipped off the porch last winter. I slipped and hit the stairs. And I just kind of got winded and I just laid there for a hot second, looking like a hot mess. And my daughter comes up and goes, that wouldn't have hurt so bad if you weren't so big, Dad.
Oh, dirty. That
I'm
was
like
dirty.
I'm laying there holding my back because I'm getting straight up. I'm a big guy, right? So when I slipped, it hurt. So I was like, oh God, if I get my wind, I'm gonna come kick your butt. you know? And she goes, you can't catch me, Dad. I was like, okay. So, but I don't regret it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that some parents are kind of cringe about it, but like, no, I like them being quick witted. It's okay. As long
Yeah,
as they're respectful, as long as they know time and place. That's all.
yeah. Well, they know I'm not their friend, but they know I'm their dad, and they know I'm approachable. They can talk with me. They can be honest with me.
That's
You know.
exactly it. That's exactly it. I want them to trust me.
Yep. Yeah.
Totally.
All right. First arm is done. Put it together wrong. No,
No?
it's together right. I promise. It just didn't go in. It didn't fasten itself into its seatbelt. All right. So that's where we are at for 42 minutes of talking and building. That's not too bad.
Yep.
Got backpack, chest, waist, and one arm.
Let me finish this part here and I'll show you what I got.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I once in a while I stream and do video games as well as building, but I don't do a whole lot of the video game streaming. I usually when I stream I play No Man's Sky,
Ooh,
or
that's a good game.
it is. I've been playing it since day one, and the rewards for being a day one player are amazing. Some people are like, wait, there's rewards for being, yes, there is. They don't make me go back and relearn anything. They just give it to me for free now. Or they're like, yeah, you're a day one guy. You just get this, these, what do they call them? Recipes or whatever, the
Yeah.
blueprints and stuff. Like, yeah, they just give them to me now. They don't force me to like go find things anymore. And the new things that I have to go find are just like all vanity. It's nothing's like detrimental to my game anymore. They just keep adding vanity stuff for me to go search out and find. And I finally figured out some of the stuff that just like there was like a year where I just missed out doing some stuff. Like I was off on my own tangent, like trying to find the center of a galaxy, and I kept like doing a circle around the center of this galaxy. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I had to take a break and stuff. But it's such a great game, and I really like where they're heading with it, and I just can't wait to see what else they do with it. Oh,
I think I've played like maybe a whole 25, maybe 30 hours into it. I'm not very far into the game. I like it, but I fell into the trap once I got off the first planet. I started pirating.
Oh well, so Let's see. Oh no, that's not good. There it goes. Dropped it into the abyss. So for No Man's Sky, um, Pio Draco says that's hilarious. To I think your comment a little bit of when your daughter was talking to you when you fell.
Yep.
Um, for No Man's Sky, what what I got lost in was I got lost in the whole base building thing. I thought that was going to be important in the game. It was like people are going to want to come see my really cool base, so I got all lost into that part of the game, and I never really recuperated. I'm still stuck there. That's my little own personal
Oh,
torture device.
I do the same thing with 7 Days to Die. I am constantly building new bases just to see if I could do something different than I did before.
Yeah, that game looks fun. I've watched you play it a couple days.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely a mind grind. You're just
Hmm.
turn it on, get yourself a drink if you do, or whatever you want to do, and just play the video game, and then go to sleep after an hour playing it. You'll realize how much work you actually get done before you actually realize it. You'll turn it on the next day and go, "Oh wow, I did all this."
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and then of course, like if you get bored, because you can get bored building houses all day, right? So you go out and kill zombies. That's it.
That's nice. There's a game on PlayStation 4 that I played just recently that was a like build your base up and kill zombie game. And then back on Xbox 360 there was a game called State of Decay and I loved that game. That game was amazing. Those are like my zombie go-tos when I play games like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on PS4 and PS5, I'm playing Days Gone. That's right. I was telling you about that. That was my
Yeah.
current like zombie get 'em game was Days Gone, and I think Days Gone's all right. It's not perfect. There could be some better aspects to it, but it's good. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I didn't find any issues with it. Yeah, you drive around on a motorcycle and beat up zombies.
Yeah, it's pretty self sufficient there.
Yep. The story was kind of good too for a little bit.
I like some of it. Yeah, some of the story was pretty good. There were some I had questions after certain spots, but
Yeah.
alright, that arm section together. No, that was the wrong way. I did it again. I keep thinking the wrong side is the right side. There's like this little hinge right here. If you don't put this right, it doesn't sit, or like it won't bend right when it's all together.
Oh, I got you.
It's got like a groove in there for the way it's supposed to bend. All right, now that that's fixed, we can get everything back going. Second arm is done. So yeah. Well, right now, a kit I have on display for everybody to look at tonight is this super awesome Verka kit that I built. It is my Thunderbolt Verka. Now, I didn't do a whole lot of customizing to this one when I built it. Really, I was just, I wanted the experience of building the garbage bag Gundam. And a lot of people, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not insulting the Gundam. This is this Gundam's nickname, and I'm sticking with it because, yes, they are like garbage bags. Right here on the arms,
Mm-hmm.
that's a piece. It's like a piece of plastic, like garbage bag piece. So everybody, when I was building it, everybody was making fun of it and stuff. But it's a great build. So I did not do any heavy customization, but what I did do instead was I did a like a color swap on the reds, and I swapped as much red out for blue, and then the blue that was originally there, I turned it into dark iron or gunmetal. It was one of those two colors. It
Nice.
looks really nice with the color swaps the way it is. And then for the final top coat, after I put on all the decals, I did an iridescent blue paint job. Like it's a super nice iridescent blue. So, and it hits kind of, it's hard to see because it's a little bit older, but like even all this, like right here, all these white parts, they have like this sheen of blue as the light like tracks across it. And certain light, some light you can see it, some you can't. Right now, my everything's like being very difficult. But as I
No, I
wiggle
can
it,
definitely see it. I can see
you
it.
can see it right here on like these weapon parts and stuff, hardcore. So, um, then yeah, ultimately it is a beast of a kit, and there's a lot of work to do when you're working on this kit. I feel like this is like one of the longest kits. It took me, I want to say, 3 full weeks of sanding to do this kit. Like that's how much work I put into sanding to get it ready.
There you
It
go.
was just so much. I didn't really know what was going to be visible. It was my first time ever putting this specific kit together. I never did the high grade version, so I didn't know what to expect from the high grade moving into the master grade even. And some people are like, well, that doesn't make a difference. Well, sometimes it does because you can kind of get an idea of what the kit's going to already look like.
Yeah.
But sometimes for me, even the picture doesn't help me. I'm just like, I'll be lost until I actually get it built or put together. And then there's also some kits where it's like, I'll do a full paint job on the kit without ever assembling it to know if the paint job is going to be cohesive or not.
Right.
I've done that on too many kits to go, maybe I should not do that again. Like, let's take a little break on just painting things. So, um, I've had that come across me a few times, and it's not too bad, but yeah. Other than that, I'm also the Zaku I'm working on for tonight, guys, is going to be going into this big diorama that I got going on right here.
Oh, nice.
So I've been working on this diorama for a little over a year now, and it's the piece that I built that sparked the build. I was showing everybody on TikTok live today, but this is what sparked this diorama is just this piece right here. It's literally what is it, a 001 scene base? Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's what this is. And I just painted it up, gave it some like mossy weathering idea with a waterfall, and I was like, all right, now we gotta build a bigger diorama to put a waterfall on this. So this will go right inside of this, what looks like a white building. The white building is going to get painted what I call Gundam Space Blue or Universal Century Space Blue. And the
Hmm.
reason why I call it that is because if you look at the metals in outer space in Gundam Universal Century, they're gray with like a bluish color to them. Or at
Hmm.
least that's what they look like to me. So I call it Gundam Space Blue or UC Blue, and I use it on like cranes and stuff when I'm building things. And so I was like, hey, I got enough of it left over because I made a big custom like bucket worth of it out of lacquers. And I was like, yeah, I'll use it to paint that.
Oh,
So
nice.
that white building is going to become like a grayish blue building. And then these buildings, I'll also do custom colors on these buildings as well. These are like little 3D scale buildings. They're really nice to add to your builds because you can stand a Gundam next to it or on it or near it, or even just put like one of your little Gundam guys like on the balcony or whatever. And then it adds so much, like just having that little guy right there.
It does.
Yep. So, and then my other passion in life besides models has to be Power Rangers.
Ooh, what's your favorite Power Ranger?
Um, well, here, look at the screen. Maybe you can figure
Oh,
it out.
the Green Ranger. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually joking. He's not really my favorite Power Ranger. He's a really good Ranger. My favorite actual Power Ranger would have to be um it was Billy. Billy was always my
Yeah,
favorite.
the Blue Power Ranger. Yeah.
Yep, the blue Power Ranger. I don't know why, but I've always really liked Billy.
Hmm.
He was always the best. He was the one. He was like the most valuable Power Ranger if you really think about it, because
He
they
really
got in
was.
some really tight situations where they couldn't do anything without Billy. Billy was really
Yep.
putting it together for the team. So yeah, and then for me, I'll tell you my favorite Gundam show is Iron Blood Orphans. And that's basically because I relate a lot to the synapse of the show, like the opening when they first open it,
Hmm.
and they talk about how bad they treat the kids and stuff in that series. That felt like man, they were like really speaking to me as like somebody who's been in and out of the foster care system and been in and out of foster homes. Like I was like, man, that really speaks to me. I was like, so I really attached myself to that show, and man, was I glad I did, because man, we got Gundam Goku out of that show, and I was happy. That's my silly little name I call Barbatos. Gundam Goku.
It's
That
funny you
fight.
said that. It's funny that you look at him as Goku, because I said the same thing, but to Domon from G Gundam.
Oh, Domon, you're not wrong there, and
He,
I won't argue with that either. I think that's very adequate as well. I would very much so be like, yeah, I agree, I agree. Um, but I would say, like in that version of Gundam, I feel like Domon, depending on what Gundam he's in, depends on what version of Goku he is too.
agreed. Yeah, I won't even argue that. By the way, Websy, I'm taking inspiration from a project you're working on. That's what somebody just typed in your comments.
Yes. So a project I'm working on that's actually sitting right there in those bins on the side of my desk. I am doing an Avengers series, I believe, and I'll show you the first one I have. Here's Iron Man.
Nice.
So the kit you're actually building right now, I think, is this kit, but I added a few things and gave it the Iron Man paint job.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So
That's really cool.
yeah, I used a custom handmade red lacquer, metallic red lacquer, and then I used All-Clad system to do the gold. So I did the All-Clad Chrome program, like get it all the way up to Chrome, and then I used All-Clad's clear yellow enamel to make it gold.
That's cool,
So,
man.
so that's how I achieved gold on this kit. It was my first time using All-Clad product, and it was nerve-wracking. It was so nerve-wracking. I was like, I don't want to mess it up. I was just like being one of those guys. Like I was like, okay, I had timers set and everything for parts to cure and dry, because like All-Clad, if, for those out there that aren't used to All-Clad, if you don't know what that is, it
Yeah.
is top tier, high skill level. You have to be knowledgeable of what you're doing before touching this product. It's not an easy pour and go quality product. Like you get Vallejo. Vallejo is more an easy pour and go kind of product. Well, with All-Clad, it's not really as easy as just pour and go. You gotta make sure your air pressure's right. You gotta make sure your house temperature conditions are right. You gotta make sure you got proper ventilation. All these things make a difference, because if you don't have proper ventilation alone, your parts will stay wet longer, and then they'll start to sag and dry. There's just so many problems with airbrushing all in
Oh yeah.
general. So, but with All-Clad, you got to be like really into that whole system before you jump into it. And if you're not, you're gonna be upset, or you'll be like, well, I'm never using that product again. You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
it just it can definitely leave a sour taste in your mouth if you're not very fond of the product, or familiar with it at all. And that's something that I noticed with it when I used it, is I didn't some of it I didn't like. I didn't like certain things about All-Clad, but once you realize the patience and stuff that you got to put into using that specific product, you're a lot better off. Now, if you want a lacquer that's going to dry in 20 minutes, I think Odin Can is a really good product. Maybe check them out. But before Odin Can, I used to use Studio G had a brand of paint called G Paint, and
Mm-hmm.
I used to promote and swear up and down by that paint. Nobody paid me to promote for them either, but I swear up and down about G Paint, because I cannot argue with the quality of G Paint. Here is a G Paint build. This Leo that I built is red and black G Paint.
Mm-hmm.
And the gold is also G Paint. Like the whole kit. I did the whole kit in G Paint. And it's like I can I can abuse this paint, and
Yeah.
this paint doesn't scratch or chip or anything. It's really amazing. I've been super impressed with it. So, and that it doesn't. Also, another thing about G Paint was, and Odin-Con is kind of like the new replacement for G Paint, is it didn't make your parts thicker or add thickness to your parts in the way that some acrylics and water bases do.
Mhm.
So that's something to think about, the pros and cons over using lacquer.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
Well,
you
no,
need.
yeah, I use the lacquer myself on some of my bigger projects, but like you said, lacquer in general should take a lot of research before you jump the gun.
Oh yes, definitely.
I use monument paints myself.
Ooh, okay. Monuments. Okay, Brian. I personally don't use them, or it's not because I don't like them or anything. It's just they're not easily available near me.
Oh,
So
you're 100% okay, man. Different strokes, different folks. You know what I mean?
damn right, damn right. I go to Hobby Lobby and buy Createx. Like
Yeah.
if I
Little.
really need to just do a project,
Listen,
just use.
we've all painted with I should say any experienced painter painted with army paints. Let's just be honest.
Yep. Pyro Draco Studio says, I'm using Barbados kit to make a cloud stripe from Final Fantasy VII. A friend is resin printing me the Buster Sword for it. That's an amazing idea. I
Mhm.
really like that. I think you could achieve a really good look with that because, like, those bulky shoulders from Final Fantasy VII really match up with that Barbatos look. And then, oh, yeah, you'll be able to really nail some really good design ideas with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. I like it.
I had a friend take a Gujin rebake head, put it on a Barbados body, put a cape, found a cloth Batman cape that he had just like lying around in his house, and he cut it up and he made a Berserk kit, the dark armor.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
That sounds really cool. I like that.
Mhm.
I don't know, after I get done with the Avengers series, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I don't have it like really just picked out another series to do or something. I don't really want to do like a Dragon Ball series or anything. Uh just because like it's kind of like that's all over the place, right? Like, so the
Yeah.
Avengers series I'm limiting myself to only using kits from the Gundam Wing section of the franchise. So Endless Waltz is allowed, Gundam Wing is allowed, Glory of the Losers, any of the mangas, anything from any of that material is allowed for me to use as an Avengers build. So War Machine is a no-brainer, right? You should use Gundam Heavy Arms. Tony Stark, the Zero system is easily, changeable for Tony Stark's setup. So I was like, yeah, let's use Wing Gundam for that. Then it goes into other things like, what are you gonna, what are you gonna turn Epion into? Well, Epion's gonna become Hawkeye. Like, what? Really? Yeah, it totally makes sense. The colors even kind of line up with Hawkeye's colors. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna do that for them. There's this model from Endless Waltz called a Serpent Custom. I'm gonna turn that into the Hulk. Um, what is it? Shenlong or Nataku? Not like master grade P Bandai Nataku, but like the high grade version or the master grade the smaller master grade version. That is going to get turned into Black Widow because the snake hand can be, or the snake arm or the dragon arm can easily be turned into a Black Widow looking arm. So that was super easy. Pyro Draco says he can't wait to see the Hawkeye. Yeah, because I'm going to be really doing some custom work to get a bow and arrow built out of those Epion wings. Because that's what I'm going to use to make the bow and arrow for Hawkeye. And then
You know,
let's see. Bucky Barnes is Sandrock. That's who I'm going to use as Sandrock.
it's not a bad idea.
Um, and then Gundam Death Scythe Hell Custom is going to get turned into Doctor Strange. So that's kind of a. I'm going to paint the bat wings red because they can
Yeah.
then drape over him and everything, just like his cape does. And then I can paint the rest of the mobile suit like blues or whatever. It'll pan out. It'll look really cool.
Just for the hell of it, you should do like just a comical piece. Well, once you're done with your main project, do like a Spirit Leo.
Spirit Leo.
What was his name? It wasn't Spirit. I just confused him with somebody else. God,
I'm
what
gonna
was
do.
his name?
Tall Geese says Captain America.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember his name. Jeez. Jesus, he was the robot that Wanda fell in love with, or the android.
Oh, Ultron. Or
Well,
they
the
changed his name, didn't they?
yeah,
Vision.
yeah, Vision.
Yeah.
Jesus, Vision. You should make a Leo into Vision,
Hmm. A
just for
Leo
the hell.
could. No, a Leo could actually work as Vision. That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, just for the comical side of it. Just because, like, here's my main project. Check it out. Look how badass it is, and here's this.
Yeah, no, that's totally a good idea. I don't
Yeah,
mind.
I know Joey Ganoda would love that. Joey Ganoda
Yeah.
would definitely love Leo.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan. That's like Leo is definitely my favorite grunt out of all the grunt suits. It goes Leo, Jessica Cannon, Black TriStar, and then regular Zaku. Those in that exact order as well.
Fair enough.
So, and then and then the gyms and the goofs can all be last. Like, I don't care about those two. they're, they're a dime a dozen for those suits. Yeah, and but back to this full armor Gundam. It was definitely a fun build. Don't stress too much over the garbage bag joke. Once you wrinkle them things up and put them in there, the Gundam stays together. It's really surprising. Like you think the things are gonna pop off or where the arm elbows are and stuff. You think it's all gonna bust apart, but surprisingly, even after I like took it apart to paint it and put a top coat on it, which is funny, the top coat stuck to the plastic bags. So I thought that was funny too. But yeah, it really did stay together and everything, and it doesn't look super bad. So there are some videos out there by a couple different studios that show you alternatives to the plastic bags on this kit. You can actually use things like bendy straws have been recommended, and a
Mhm.
couple other types of plastic hoses that you can easily cut and put in place have also been recommended in replacement for the what comes stock with the kit. However, if you just be patient, put it together, it'll stay. I promise. It really will. This is actually the only Verka I've never had any issue with when I built it and put it together, worried about anything. Other Verka kits that I've built, I have had some issues with. I have a little bit of issues posing the Wing Zero custom Verka with
Okay.
it, its dual buster rifle pose. I do have a little bit of issues with it. I got it in the pose, but it's just a little finicky. Then the arms really like to fall off of the high new Verka. That was one thing that I had a lot of issues with my high new Verka is I don't have the issue no more because I got wires going through it and stuff because I put lighting in it. But
Okay.
when I first built it, yeah, the right where the bicep is on the high new Verka,
Mhm.
it does not have a good clasping system there on the inside. So if you got a really smooth paint job going on in there, it'll just fall right out. So that was one of the issues I had with that one. Other than that, yeah, I didn't have too many more issues. And then I built the Zeta 25th anniversary Verka,
Oh,
and
nice.
that thing is really, it's my favorite out of all of them so far that I've built. Besides this Thunderbolt, I really like my Zeta Verka. I did all chrome or not chrome, but I did all metallics for it when I painted it.
Okay.
So I did a full repaint, and here it is. So even this gray has metallic silver in it as like a splash of silver to give it metallicness. But then I also did the black. I did it like a gunmetal iron or dark iron. That's what I did. I did dark iron for the black, and it turned out really nice there too. And yeah, I think it's a really solid kit. Not too many arguments with it. It does have the same problems the real grade has because this looks like they just took the files from the real grade
Mhm.
and carved out master grade size parts for it. So if
Mm.
you've ever built the real grade version of this kit, it's almost exactly the same. There's not very much that makes these two different. And I did build the real grade version as well. It's hanging out over there with the other real grades. I don't really keep the real grades. Like I don't do a lot of customizing of real grades. and I don't do a lot of customizing of master grades. I usually just build my master grades exactly to spec because I like them that way.
Yeah,
For competitions, though, I go all out. I'll do all sorts of crazy things for a competition. Um, then my favorite thing to customize and work on are just high grades. I like the challenge of making high grades look better than they came out of the box.
100% agree to that.
So
Yeah, I yeah, no. So it's actually funny you said that because I'm gonna burn through all my high grades. I'm only gonna selectively look for more high grades. I'm not gonna own a lot of them anymore. I think I'm probably just gonna move to the master grade and stay in Burkall area. That's just like I'm not sure if you know this, but I've built almost 4 different Sazabi Verkaj yet over the years.
all right,
They're milestones for me. I have this weird philosophy. So my very first master grade, my very first kit, as you know, was the Sazabi Verkaj, and I did atrocious work on that. It was bad. But I was also new, right? I had no idea what that. I had no business touching that kit, really. But I did it anyways, and it looked okay. And then the second one was just stock build with some decals, and then the third one and some panel lining. The third one was paint, decals, panel lining. The fourth one was my best one that I'm dropping a video for because after our Verkov event that just got over, it has metal parts in it. It has lights. I'm finishing up the diorama piece by piece. It's much better, you know. So I'm doing these as homages, right? Like kind of like the stage of evolution, but for Nordic, it's this to this, and
yeah,
how long it took him to do or took me to do it, right? I hate talking about
yeah,
myself in the third person, but how long it took me to get to this point in 4 years, right? People have been doing this for 30 years, right? And I just want to just want to get up there. And a big inspiration. He's gonna make fun of me if he sees it, but big inspiration is Prime. He gets so aggravated with me because I really think Prime, Leviathan Prime specifically, is a huge untapped potential guy here. He does his work. He goes to GWCB or whatever. He does all those competitions. He's winning first place in just every competition, and it's not about winning to him. He just does it to have fun.
hmm
But I've seen him physically when we've gone to conventions. Because this is going next year. This will be almost 4 years of going to conventions, doing these things and teaching people how to build gunpla. And for example, Emerald City Comic Con up here in Seattle, I will be hosting the gunpla stuff there. So I'm going to a little bit closer to home this time instead of MomoCon, Georgia. So but Prime is a huge example of what perseverance and time can do for somebody's skill sets. And he's been a huge motivation to me, right? He tells me to get over my hurdles, and he shows me how to. I remember surprising him one day because he never does physical battle damage. His Verkov that won the Verkov event, because he definitely stepped outside his box, is battle damage was his limit. I took a Sinanji master grade and I broke it on camera in Discord. Like I ripped the arm off on purpose to give it that realistic look of being broken. And I
yeah,
started chopping the plastic up on the armor. And Gen X dad, Gen X Labs, I'm not sure if you've seen him or seen his
yeah,
work.
yeah.
He
I know who
actually,
that is.
yeah, he showcases my Sinanju on his shelf because we did an art trade when he came up to Seattle. I actually have his barbecue right here. We did an art trade, and I was freaking out. I was like, what am I going to give this master builder, for a kit, right? Because he didn't tell me what kit it was, so I thought it was something. I didn't think he was going to give me something bad per se, but so he gave me that, and I gave him my Sinanju, and he
Hmm.
showcases it on his shelf. You'll see the work there. Has a red LED in the eyes here. I'm going to show you his barbecue real quick. I like showing his work off, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Show us all.
Put it in a little diorama case.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he painted the Barbados in Pokemon color or Pikachu colors.
That's really cool. I like that.
Sorry about all the glare, but yeah, yep. So he traded this for my Sinanju, and I was like, wow, dude.
So
But
I can't show you my custom Barbatos that I did, but I can tell you about it
sure.
because I gave it away as a gift myself to one of my best friends that's like an older brother to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I took the Barbatos and I customized it to look like Wolverine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I gave the hands, I put the claws coming out of the hands and stuff, and
Mhm.
then I built a box, so it looks like he's the Wolverine that was in the scene for Weapon X, kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
But I painted him to have the old school astonishing X-Men suit, so it was yellow, but then it had the black with the blue sheen.
Yep.
So I did that concept with him, and it just turned out so amazing. My friend,
That's
he has it like on his mantle next to all his Funko Pops and his Magic cards, and he's like, right here in the center is this really badass kit my homie made for me. I was like, ah, sweet. So, and he's a really awesome guy, and I was really proud to make him a kit for that. But then, just recently, another one of our friends out of that same friend group, he comes up and he goes, "Hey man, I saw that kit you got downstairs that you made for Leprechaun," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What's up?" And he was like, "Can you do Panthro?" And I was like, "Dang, you're going way back, huh?" I was like, "Panthro, huh? You want some Thundercats?" And he was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "All right." I was like, "Well, let me source it. Let me see what kit's gonna look good as Panthro before I really just give you a yeah." But
Mhm.
I'm sure I can definitely build a Panthro kit. Not no problems. If I can do Wolverine,
Oh yeah.
Panthro's right up that same alley of super easy to do. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for right now is kits to build Panthro with. So if anybody's got ideas, I'm taking them. And
Panthro.
so I was
Hmm.
thinking start off with like Rambo Rel's custom goof or goff, and then adding in some parts from like the Big O, and then getting somebody to send me the Granddad's Gundam mace, and then putting all that together, and then I'd probably have to create a custom head, or I could take the Gundam Dandelion, and I could
Hmm.
take the head from Dandelion, and that looks a lot actually like Panther already. I would just have to paint the main part of the face darker.
Okay, I
And
see what you're saying.
yeah, so I'm one of those kinds of people. I can like take kits and like take parts from certain kits and figure out what I've got going on and stuff with that. So that's kind of how I was gonna do that kit. I'm not sure. I was gonna let the thought process simmer on me a little bit more and really try and figure out what else I could do to attach to that kit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was the main concept, and so Panthro, that's gonna be just a one-off. I don't think I'll do any of the other uh cats from that show, but definitely do Panthro.
Panthro. Okay.
Uh, Oh, where am I at? Oh, there I am. I'm still working on this leg, guys, and I got this much done. This is what we've done so far since we've been here. So
Nice.
so, and then I got one more to do after this kit. Why
Give
do
me
I gotta wait?
one second. I just dropped the part.
Oh, there. That's where it goes.
Damn it. I'll be here for a minute.
It happens. No, this way.
It's down. Sometimes being chubby, shit just falls in your lap. Nope. Where did you bounce off already? Oh, I see you, dude. All right, let's finish this.
It's a 10. That's what I need. Polycap 10. Where are you, Polycap 10? Are you still on the runner? Yeah, you're still on the runner. Where'd I put that? There it is. Couldn't find my nipper. Got your part back finally? And yeah, got that and a Polycap 10. I'll put the other one on the other piece. Yeah, I didn't think these legs were as involved when I first put one of these together.
Yeah.
Azaku, I thought the legs were a lot more simple and hollow when I first built one, and I was wrong. I was very wrong. So I have definitely grown to like the Zaku kits. Some of them a lot more than other kits here recently, which is something I never thought I would be able to say out loud. 'Cause I never thought I would really like them. It's not that I'm against mono eyes. I always had this thing with the tubes on the outside of the kit. Like, man, that's a design flaw. I would, if I was working for that company or whatever, I'd be like, hey, can we tuck these in? Like
Yeah.
those leave us, weak and vulnerable. Let's fix that. But I really like all the intricacies that is going on in here for this kit. Like, I'm putting this leg together, and there's actually like an inner frame piece for the big blue section of the lower leg. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of neat. Like Gundams don't do that. Oh, that's the wrong side. All right. I'm gonna find out whether or not I put the right side of the leg together or not. That's always the next fun part. It is the right side. All right. Here we go. Yay, we did it. Oh no, we did not figure out Blue's Clues. Darn. All right. Yep, I'm sorry. I'm from that generation of. I didn't watch Blue's Clues. It was just around. My kids watched it for sure. All right. Leg is together for the most part. Let's get these little fancy doodads in. This one goes over here. Here. And on the first one, I broke one of these Werner stems. I was not happy about that. But I'm going to take and replace those. I don't know if I'm going to do it on all of them, but these little stems inside of here, these little tiny little stems right there that hold the Werners are very weak on this high grade. So it's like almost makes me nervous to even put these ones on this one. Like, I don't want to. Wait till you paint it. Well, I gotta paint it now. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
all right, there is one leg. This leg's pretty cool. Lots of detailing to be done. So once I get done with putting all three kits together, I'll do all factory line. You get a sticker, you get a sticker, you get a sticker. You get some top coat, you get some top coat, you get some top coat. You get some details, you get some details, you get some details. It'll kind of work out that way because then it'll just make it repetitive. I like that concept, especially when you're pumping out multiple kits like this. Have you ever watched the video where the guy puts together like 10 Astray Red frames or 10 new Gundams? Or have you ever watched any of those videos of that guy?
I have, yes.
Yes. So that's how I feel right now. I feel like I'm trying to accomplish that, and I'm doing it the worst way possible.
There's a guy that I met at MomoCon. His name is John. Really cool builder. Good dude. He army builds. You can find him on Instagram. But one year we're just me and Prime are just chilling, and we're listening to him talk about what's his favorite kits and this, that, and the other. And we were asking him questions, and while we were asking him questions, I noticed that he kept pulling out high grade Cublius. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, oh, Jesus. And he was up to 12 by the time we got done with the combo. And at this convention, all he does is build high grades, the same kid over and over and over again. That's his thing. He just hyper focuses and slams him down. No reason. No reason. He doesn't try to win nothing. He's just there to vibe. And I was like, man, this guy really is impressive.
That's very neat.
Yeah, just using just you getting the same kit over and over and over again, like his commitment to the craft. Pyro has a question for us. Question for both
Uh,
of you: have you all ever used modeling clay on a kit, and if so, any tips you can give?
all right. So I will show you what I will use on a kit whenever I need to use to. So this is to, you're asking if we're going to bulk a kit up or add to a kit. I use a couple different options. Now, the first one is always going to be the weirdest one to talk about, but I call it spur goo. And what spur goo is basically you just take the runner that the parts came off that you're working on and you melt it with some glue and it turns into spur goo. And then you can paste that onto your part, let it dry, and sand it to shape. That's the first thing I use, or the first thing I mess around with. I'm looking for the other thing. I can't see it right now, but it's Tamiya putty. The white creamy putty is the other thing that I'll use, and those are the only two modeling like clay type things that I would use. But like regular art hobby modeling clay, I've never used myself, so I don't have a review for that. But using spur goo is really cool. It can do you can do some really cool things with spur goo. Um, I just recently learned that you can turn clear plastic into spur goo as well, and you can fill sniper lenses and stuff with clear spur goo and let it dry, and
Hmm.
then it's really nice looking instead of like painting it with a metallic green or something. You
Yeah,
can have the clear green as the custom fitted lenses and all those pieces, and you can use that also in like your Gundam's head camera and stuff too. You can put a little bit of it in there and let it dry and then sand it and buff it, and it'll shine right up and look really neat. So that's something that I'm going to be doing in the future with kits when I detail them up, is adding
nice.
that. So yeah, just take your favorite beam saber runner and melt that down and it becomes a clear spurgu. And then like I said, any runner color that you want, say I want to build the backing up for one of these Bandai Werner kits that they have. I'm just going to take this runner, chop it down to a bunch of little pieces, put it in a glass jar, and then I use this brand specifically, but use this super thin cement, which I bought this one from Testers. And that one, it melts it really fast, like within 2 hours, you'll get a good melted product. I can't find my jar. I'm looking all over. I have a jar of like some glue hanging out somewhere around here. I can't find it. It might be up. Look, there's so much going on this workspace these days.
I
I
don't
gotta
blame you,
start
dude.
consolidating some of these like projects. I guess I gotta definitely consolidate some of these projects. Yeah, definitely not finding it at the moment.
So, do you have like any? Do you have like a favorite story you like to tell people from the that happened with you while you were Gunpla building or in the community of Gunpla?
Ah, mm, no, not really. I'm more of the. I like to just. I like to just chat with people. I guess like my favorite thing to do with Gunpla is what we're doing right now. That's why I do it. Is I like to invite cool builders to come and hang out with me on my podcast. You know. Um. Other than that, like we used to have like fun like comedy jokes and stuff like back when like we first built the live cast and everything with the old group from Kip Ash Gundam, and those guys were just priceless. But yeah, I don't have anything that just like super stands out a whole lot, like as like a special story. Not
Gotcha.
yet, anyways. I guess I'm still looking for that really specific story.
No problem, man. It will come, and it will be the best feeling you've ever had. I promise.
Oh, I'm sure, sure. I have some great moments. Like every time I win a competition, I feel like those are great moments in Gunpla building.
Yeah, there you go.
And when I lose, I feel like those are good moments as well, or great moments as well, because I learn more when I lose sometimes than when I win. When I win, I learn that I made everybody happy, right? But when I lose, I learn about myself. I learn about what I could do better. And
Right.
that's what I take away from all my losses. I don't ever, I don't know, I don't ever try and like bash the other people that win or anything when I lose. It's not like that's
Yeah.
not for me type of deal. And I also try to stay out of those the drama moments, right? I try to stay out of those moments where you feel like, oh, this is drama, or like this is unavoidable, or this is avoidable. I should stay away. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of those moments too. But the greatest moment, like so far that I can say that I've had as a Gunpla builder, I think is when I won this past summer. I feel like I won, but at least at the same time, I feel like I didn't. So it was one of those great moments where it was like I felt really bad, but it's like when you mention that you're entering into a competition, sometimes all the other people in the competition drop out, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's fun. So that's kind of something I would like to touch on is like if I enter into a competition, I'm entering because I think those people in that competition are going to be a good competition, good competitors with me. It's
Mhm.
not because I want a rivalry with you. It's not because I want to be your enemy. I want to be your friend and I want you to, be my friend type of deal.
Right.
I'm just doing it because, well, that's the end goal for me, like, is to go into competitions. Like, eventually, I want to be at Leviathan Prime's level where I have that confidence to just go to GBWC and be like, here's my work. Love me. You know what I mean? Like, I really want to be that guy because that's how I feel like he is when he goes or when he talks about, doing competitions and stuff. He's just like, you got to have that confidence that I don't know what else. It's like a charisma or whatever, but it's so great. And so hanging out with Leviathan Prime was really great. A couple months back, I had him on the show. Back in like I think June or May, one of those months, I had him back on. He talked, and then last fall I had Adam on as well in the podcast, and just talking with Adam and learning from him. Uh, Adam's really awesome too. He's such a great guy. I
Yeah.
think
He's
he
a good
he
dude.
he encouraged me to keep giving TikTok another chance when I first like everything because I was like I got that bad rep from that one builder, and then all of a sudden, like a couple days later, Adam's like doing his Sunday shout outs, and I'm one of the people in his shout out. And I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, that's so cool. Thank you so much for the
Hmm.
shout out. Hey, I do a podcast. You want to come hang out and talk to me and stuff? He was like, yeah, sure, I'll come hang out and talk with you. And that's how I met Adam. It was just that simple. I was like, wow, that's really cool. So that has to be a great moment, I guess. Getting that Sunday shout out from Adam Skater, that was really cool.
He's
And
definitely an uplifting dude. I
yes, he
liked having him a part of my crew, as well. He's definitely there to help. He actually contrasts me quite a bit in some of the beliefs on how Berserker Mech should be ran. So I surround myself with people that question, you know, because I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So sometimes I make mistakes. So Adam, Leviathan Prime, Decoy, they're all there to help me kind of course correct when I need to. So yeah, those are my guys. Those I trust those guys a lot. Um, Trust doesn't come easy nowadays, right? People are always trying to get the clout, especially on
yeah,
apps, and
definitely on it.
realistically speaking, you're right. Just avoid the drama, right?
Yep.
Sadly, it's not always easy to avoid the potholes. Sometimes you just have to run them over really hard, and hopefully your axles didn't break, right?
I, I I do know what that feels like, and yes,
So it is hard. Being close to 10K on TikTok alone, that's small potatoes compared to some of the bigger guys with 30, 40. This isn't a race, but like it definitely does get hard sometimes because you want to express your opinion, but you also have to remember people can be sensitive to your opinion. So it's a really hard juggle to do, man. In the
that,
social limelight, it's really hard. Like I'm not out to get nobody, but at the same time, I want to express who I am. You know what I mean?
right?
And
No, and
it's hard.
I totally get it. Like, there's even some people have a hard time seeing that some type of engagement may be one way when it wasn't really that way or something. I totally see that, and that's like some of those things that like make me take that step back and go, how do I interact with this person? Do I I'll write the sentence out, and then I'll be like, that sounds like I'm being a dick. Let's rewrite that. And then I'll write it again. I'll be like, no, still dick, and still a jerk, still a jerk. And then I'll finally get to a sentence where, like, okay, maybe this one will be okay. And then I send it, and then it's still like, dude, you're a jerk. I'm like, oh man, you don't even know. I rewrote that 5 times to not be a jerk. Like, oh, you guys, I feel
Yeah.
so bad for you. So.
Yeah.
Yes, I have had those moments, and especially in Gunpla, is like when you constantly see somebody in the Gundam area or constantly see the same question coming up over and over again. Like, and it's not the same person asking the question, but it's like, weren't you paying attention? You're part of this group. Somebody just asked that question like 2 hours ago. Why are you asking the same question? Like, did that person not get the answer they were looking for, and did you not read the answers? Like, I'm
What I
confused.
found, and I've actually, sorry, not to cut you off, but what I found, because I've had to explain this, I run the Verkaw event twice a year. I swear to God, I have to explain the same rule. Cannot be started. Cannot be started. The kit has to be fresh out of box, right? And I understand, but I don't think it's that. I think what it is comprehension, or maybe they get wrapped up in the excitement of hearing it. Like you could be, Web C could be like, you would be like, oh, I'm hosting a cool event where you get a free high grade. You just got to enter your high grade with a little bit of paint. And they're like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. But rules apply. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so going to win this. But rules apply. They're completely glazing over the rules apply. You know what I mean? I,
Yes,
I
yes.
think it's comprehension. I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I don't think anybody actively wants to look silly or,
No,
that's,
I
but
the first year I was an admin for Kit Bash Gundam, I hosted quite a few what we will call uh competitions or whatever. And yes, I felt like a broken record at the end of every day going, no, no, you don't have to live in America to join this competition. No, no, you don't. Like, oh my goodness. Like, so eventually I was just like, you know what, guys, this competition's a little more work than it needs to be. I just sent out like little prizes to the two people that did, do it and stuff because I thought this was gonna like. I really wanted to do something evolutionary to the competition of Gunpla, and I was really trying to revolutionize it, and I felt like it was gonna go right, and then it was wrong, and I was like, well, that didn't work. We'll try again in 20 years. So the idea I had was I was building this competition series, right? And I started it off with this thing called the Bounty Bag Challenge. And what you would do is every month, everybody could enter a kit in that they built, pre-built. But it had to be your kit. If I found out you were cheating and using somebody else's build, I like instantly DQ'd you. You got kicked out of the group and everything. You were just like, I was that kind of guy. Like, you don't cheat in competitions. You will be
yeah,
exiled for cheating in competitions. And I made an example out of one person, and then everybody else kind of got with the program and stopped cheating. That wasn't the big problem. The big problem was just people not understanding the rules. Like, the rules were like very well laid out. People just didn't get the rules.
yeah.
So eventually, that wasn't really what the competition was supposed to be. This was just supposed to be like the jumping off point to the bigger competition. So it was like a little competition creating a bigger competition. And the bigger competition was where I was like, I want to build teams. And I want there to be like a captain of the team and then like 4 people on the team. And then the team, the idea is y'all can pick whatever Gundams you want. But as a team, you have to make a cohesive team uh, a livery, just like in racing. You have to have a livery, and
Mm-hmm.
your livery has to be cohesive throughout all 5 of your kits. And then when you compete against another team, your captain picks your competing order, and then you go up, and the fans will vote kit versus kit as the competing order goes through. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And then whichever kits win the most will get a point for each win. And then at the end of all 5 kits being viewed, whoever has the best 3 out of 5 wins or whatever. That's what the competition I was like. Because I was like, I feel like right now, Gunpla is a very solo, monoistic type of competitor area. there's not a lot of competitions that promote team building of any kind. Even GW doesn't have any
Yeah.
kind of team competition set up. So I was like, that's where I was trying to revolutionize it. I was like, hey, team competition sounds cool, and I was having all those problems with trying to constantly have to explain the rules and this, that. I got a headache and I was like, all right, I'm done. And
Sometimes our vision's hard to tell others, right? That's
right. So
that's unfortunately the problem. It's not a problem. That's unfortunately the side effect of, social.
yeah. And anyways, but that I figure I'll try and revisit the concept again, in the future. And I think that's
Yeah, do it.
spiky hair for his wrist gauntlet. Okay. Pyro Draco. Uh hold on. I forgot to put a couple parts on. We're gonna take this piece back off. Come on. Come on. No, kitty, I don't want to. It's stuck. Woo! That sounded dangerous.
That was close. I heard it myself. I was like, when you bite the back of your cheek, like, dude, I don't want to.
Yep.
I'm not, I didn't agree to come here to watch you destroy kids, bro.
Don't worry. I try not to do that part.
Okay.
All right.
So, one of my favorite stories. I'm gonna tell a story because this honestly changed the perspective I had a lot. So, I I don't do well around people. I'm not a huge like crowd guy. Like I don't like crowds. It's mainly people I can't see behind me, right? That kind of gets me up. Just where you grow up, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of stay out of social situations. Now, granted, the conventions, people ask me all the time, well, how do you handle that? Well, my back is always to the wall, right? I can see everybody. Um, but so I'm on an airplane, and this really cool kid, he was he's the stereotypical kid on an airplane. Okay, he's the 8-year-old kid. His switch died. His mom is passed out, tired because she has a newborn on her weight, on her lap. And the kid's a cool kid. Like I'm just minding my business. I'm sitting in an alley or the aisle seat, right, minding my business. And this kid looks at me, and he asked me what I was doing. Well, in order for me to pass the time, because I don't sleep on planes, I brought a little SD. And the reason I brought an SD is because you can punch the parts out with your fingers.
Right.
You don't need tools because obviously TSA ain't gonna let me with there. So so I built it, and this was the first year I went. So I built it, or the second year, excuse me. This was the second year I went to MomoCon, and I built it. And this the kid next to me was completely entranced by the idea that I'm building a robot next to him. Right to him, he was like, "Oh my god, he's building a robot, mom! Look!" I'm like, "Don't wake up your mom, dude. It's cool. Like, calm down." Right? Like, it's totally cool. I appreciate you. Well, it got to the point where I didn't want to carry it around. I don't. I'm not an SD builder. It's not. I don't. I have nothing against it. I just use it because again, keeping my regulated. So I was just building it, and I ended up giving it to the kid, and he was so happy. His mom was appreciative because he was playing with it on the plane, and he was asking me 1,000 questions on his mom, right? So, right. So I was just like, at first I kind of was. It's a stranger, right? So I'm not really. I don't know how to word. I'm standoffish. I'm not mean. I'm just standoffish when it comes to stranger interactions. So, but the longer this kid started asking me questions, the more I was like, this kid's actually kind of badass. He's persistent. He's not going to let me go. He's not going to let me go. He wants to know what I do. So I showed him all the TikTok videos I've made when it comes to the Gundams, like the models. I showed him buddies of them. I showed him, I gave him the one I built. So hopefully that one, if that kid's still out there, I hope he continues building Gundams. Just
Awesome.
because some random bald dude on an airplane was doing it.
That's awesome.
That's my hope. Is it gonna happen? Fuck if I know. But that's
That
that's
is a
why I do
great
it.
story. I like that. So this kit came with two different color hands. And I don't know how I feel about that, but we're going to use the darker hands on this specific one. So he's got darker hands, and then he's got these Those are clearly two different colors, guys. What's going on, Bandai? That's clearly two different colors, Bandai. All right, so this one's done. I don't feel like I need to put the accessories together on this one because they're all together on that guy, and they're going to get divided up amongst the three different kits. So one guy gets the bazooka, one guy gets the heat axe, and one guy gets the machine gun. So that's how the tri-stars work. They're a team. One's long range, one's close range, and one's just blow you up range. So
That sounds good.
yeah, they're a pretty solid team. So here they go. There's the first two of the three. So that was some pretty good work for the night. I like that, getting it fully built. And man, I've had such a fun night hanging out with you, Nordic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
I
it.
just
Me
want
as
you to
well.
know that, and thank you so much once again for coming in. I do admire your work and everything you do. Oh, hey, there you go. You got the arms, almost the hands on. I do admire your work. Your work is really nice, and I also admire the work you do on TikTok with getting the community to talk, moving the community. You move the community, whether they like your way of doing it or not, or whether they realize that you really are doing that or not. I see it. I notice it. I'm like, yeah, this guy is moving things. He's bringing that conversation along, because it's like eventually the conversation tapers out, but
Mhm.
not with you. You're like, hey, what's this next thing? What do you think about this? I think this. What's your thought? You're always seeking to add to the conversation. And that is a great thing. And I want to thank you for that. And thank you for being a good leader in the community, because there aren't very many of us like you in the community. There's a lot of leaders in the community that are very selfish, and we know who they are, and we try to curtail them and help them along the way get better and stuff. But guys like you and Adam and the Pope of Plastic, Infinite Darkness, you guys, oh, and King Tritonus, you five for sure are definitely amongst those guys that are always driving a positive field and a positive force behind the Gonpo community. So please keep doing that. Don't stop. And hey, I hope to be up there with you guys. As things keep moving along, I hope everybody starts putting me up there with you guys and listing those things off and stuff. So that's where I go. With those goals.
Well, if I may, real quick, I know you're signing off, but I just want to add one little sentence to that, man. You are already there, Websy. Like, let's just keep it simple, right? 10,000 followers, 30,000 followers, 5K, it doesn't matter. None of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And reputation is what matters. And as long as you keep doing what you're doing here, I've seen your podcast. I've watched your videos from afar. I pop in once in a while when I have the time. I do my thing. And I got to be honest with you, Websy. It's not hard. You're doing it already. What you're doing is exactly what the community needs. Just outreach. People need to know who we are behind the kids, right?
Yep.
I often joke that the low hanging fruit of quality or content creation with Gunpla. Now, this is just a joke. This is very satirical. Is when people build and spend all of this time customizing your kit, and then they just stick it on one of those spinny things, and they don't say a word about it. Right? Like, and I'm not making fun of these people. I love these people's work. These people's work is fucking amazing. But I want to hear it. I want you to say it. How proud of you are you? Like, how proud are you? You know? And
Yeah.
I know some people have issues that they're battling about that,
Yeah.
and I can respect that. But that's why I'm there. That kit's awesome. Now talk about it, please. And they
Yeah.
always give me that same reaction. It's a cool kit. I'm like, nah, I'm not letting this go, dude. Fucking making me a video right now saying what you like about the video.
Oh
Or the
yeah.
kit. Yeah,
Definitely.
and honestly, Webster, I'm gonna give it back to you, man. You do great things, dude. I hear
Yeah.
people talk about you all the time. Talkaholic is a wonderful lady. She is the nicest lady on the planet.
She is.
I
I.
I loved working with her. She's great on. She was with my podcast or my little interview thing that I was doing, and the mother of justice, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, Adam is a straight shooter. Clear kids suck. I'm just kidding. I love Clear kids. I just said I did that for him. I did that for him. All right, man. Well, I'll let you sign off the rest of the way, but I do appreciate you having me on your podcast, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Awesome.
I'll go ahead and finish this kit up, and I'm probably going to go do some other stuff.
Sweet. All right, and thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Pyro Draco for being in the chat. I know Bit Cloudwise has been in and out throughout the night monitoring things for us as a moderator. So I want to reach out to him and say thank you to him as well. Bit Cloudwise is definitely one of those builders that he is like I wouldn't say he's my protege, but he's my buddy. We and him build next to each other all the time off screen. When you guys aren't seeing me on screen, it's because I'm usually hanging out with Bit behind the scenes, talking about things and going over stuff and what could I do better or what could he do better. Me and him are that team together. So if you guys ever see Bit Cloudwise, give him love because he's a great guy. And other than that, once again, thank you again, Nordic,